Hello and welcome to Dan's beginning beginning harmonica lessons, excuse me. Today we are going through chapter 3 and we're going to talk about music notation. And I actually have a snare drum with me right here. You can't really see it in the screen, but I'm going to use it to help us understand the rhythmic values of the different notes in a measure or bar. So we're dealing right now with 4/4 time, and this simply means that there are 4 beats in the measure, and the quarter note gets the beat. And that means so when you count 1, 2, 3, 4, those are quarter notes. Now let's start with the whole notes. So when we play a whole note on the harmonica, we're simply going to hold the note for the entire length of the measure. So it will be for 4 full counts. We will hold that particular note. I'm going to use the drum to help us because I'm going to play quarter notes on the drum. And this is going to help us count. So we know when we can hear each 4 beats, each measure. So I'll start with the 4 beats on the drum to start us off. And then we're just going to hold the 4 blow for a full measure of 4 counts. And then we're going to draw on the 4 for a full measure of 4 counts, and then go back to blowing on the measure for 4 counts. So I'll start us off with 4 counts on the snare drum, and then we'll go from there, starting on the 4 blow. One more time. Okay. So that's all. We just hold it for a full measure. It's pretty simple. Whole note, whole measure, right? Half notes are held for 2 counts or half a measure. So what we're going to do is we're going to blow for 2 counts, and then which will be 1 half note, and then we're going to draw for 2 counts, which will be a half note. So I'll start off with the 4 counts on the snare again. All right. Consider those extra 2 taps on the snare drum as being a half note rest. And a rest means we just don't do anything. So the snare drum is just going to play it, and we're going to rest. Let's try it one more time. Okay. So there's our half notes. Now we get to that quarter note. Now we're just doing the same thing that the snare drum is doing. The snare drum has been playing quarter notes the whole time. So we're going to play 4 blow notes, 4 quarter notes on the blow, and then we're going to do 4 draw notes, and then 4 more quarter notes for 3 measures of playing, and 4 measures if we count the drum intro here. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time. There's our quarter notes. Okay, now we're going to speed it up a little bit. We're going to throw in some 8th notes. So if a quarter note is counted 1, 2, 3, 4, since an 8th note is going to be 2 8th notes for every 1 quarter note. So the 8th notes we can count as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, right? Quarter notes on the snare drum. We're going to play the 8th notes. So we'll start with a measure of eighth notes on our 4 below. Then we'll go to a full measure of 4 draws, and then back to the 4 blows for the final measure. So 4 counts of each. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Yeah, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and double the quarter notes. So now we go to the next one, which is the 16th notes. So if there's 2 eighth notes for every quarter note, and there's 2 16th notes for every eighth notes, or 4 16th notes for each quarter note. So for each drum beat, we're going to do 4 counts. Or the easiest way to count that is 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. So eighth notes are 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and 16th notes 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. All right, so let's try doing it again. One measure of 16th notes on the blow, and then a measure in the draw, and a measure on the blow again. All right, let's try one more time. Okay, hopefully you can hear the harmonica and the drum together to get that 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. Okay. Now the next ones we have, I'm not going to try to play the 30-second notes, but I do want to understand kind of how to count them. All right, so the 30-second notes is basically 1 E and a, 1 E and a, and 1 E and a, E and a, 1 E and a, and E and a, 1 E and a, and E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E, 1 E and a, and E and a, 2 E and a, and E and a, 3 E and a, and E and a, 4 E and a, and E and a. So it's pretty fast, right? And I'm not even going to play it on the drum. I do use them when I play the drum sometimes, but we're not going to get into those right now. Also, it's important to note that you're not normally going to have a whole group of any note like that. We're just kind of going through the value of the notes, but as you'll see when we get to playing actual songs and stuff, that you're not going to have a whole string of quarter notes followed by a whole string of 16th notes or anything like that. And if you have a 30-second note, it's probably going to be thrown in right in front of or after another note, so you can kind of have a 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, something like that. You get all sorts of different notes, types of notes. But it's still kind of counted the same way. So you just kind of, when you see some 16th notes, how to count them, how to count when you see an eighth note, it kind of really helps to kind of know what the timing is of the song, kind of where it's going. So we'll see more of that as we continue. One more note to talk about is the dotted notes. And so a dotted note adds a half to whatever the value of the note is. So if you have a dotted quarter note, it's going to be the same as a quarter note and an eighth note. It's going to have that same value. So you're going to hold it. If I do, I'll kind of give you an idea on the drum here. If I have a dotted, what we're going to do kind of is do like a dotted quarter note followed by an eighth note. And that eighth note is going to come in on the end of the 2. And it's going to come in on the end of the 3. So it's going to be 1, 2, 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, right? So that is kind of like you're counting the 2, but not the end of the 2. 1, 2, and 1, 2, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, something like that. So let's kind of try. If again, I'm going to play the quarter notes. I'm going to play something like this. So below draw below, something like that. All right. And the reason you're going to often have a eighth note is because that's kind of the point where you might have a dotted quarter note to begin with. So to let you know that there's going to be a little extra there's going to be an extra little half a count there that you're going to hold it for. And we can hold the note too for that. Which is really what you would be doing, because when you're playing the drums, you can't do that. And the harmonica, you're holding it. So if you can kind of hear. So try that with me. Play the 4 blow. As soon as you hear the second beat, it's going to be after the beat, at the end of that beat. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's how you kind of have that dotted note. A lot of times the dotted note there will be a kind of pause between there. So it'll be 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4. Yeah, so it would kind of make sense that you're holding it, but you don't always hold it. Sometimes it's you actually want to have a little kind of a skip. It gives it kind of a skip to the song. And you hear that in a lot of music where you hear this little, like, instead of coming in on the 2, you're kind of expecting to hear that 2, but you don't. There's a little bit of a delay. 1, da da, da da, da da, right? So anyway, that's how your dotted notes work. And any note can be dotted. An eighth note can be dotted. It'd be like an eighth note followed by be like the value of an eighth note and a 16th note. A 16th note would be the value of a 16th note and a 32nd note together. So that's all. You're just adding half of the value of whatever note that is. So that's all for now. We'll talk about, we'll get into a little more sight reading on the next one, but this one we'll be talking about melodies, and we'll talk again about scales. So I'll see you then.